I'm saving Florida State in college football 25 because they just got upset by Georgia Tech to start the year. And if we look back to their previous game before that one, Georgia gave them one of the biggest poundings I've ever seen. Luckily, one loss doesn't ruin your entire season because depending how we do with the rest of this schedule, there's still a chance that we're able to make the playoffs. To start this rebuild though, I think it's time that we move on from DJ because it might say he is elite development, but I haven't seen it at any of the schools he's played for. Instead, we're going to be rolling with Luke, the true freshman that's 6'4" and has almost zero skill caps, and the main goal of taking over the Seminoles is winning it all. Along the way, I'll be trying to complete all of these other challenges as well, while playing every single game in this rebuild. Since I don't think this team's good enough to win it all this year, we're going to have to be smart about who we decide to redshirt, and the game's going to tell us certain team needs that it wants us to fill, but I saw what they needed when they played against Georgia Tech, and it's definitely some better linebackers. They could also use some better wide receivers because after this year, their best two are going to graduate, so I found some prospects I really want to go after, like some of these 5 stars, and also this wide receiver that has 99 speed. The main problem we're going to run into though is we can only put 50 points on most positions because the Florida State head coach on this game doesn't have recruiter unlocked. I've renamed him Mike Norvell, but as you can see, most of the stuff leans towards these other categories. And what's interesting is stuff like Program Builder has stuff that could be useful to us, like this one, Best Advice, where players with 3rd through 7th round draft projections are less likely to go pro. I still think we're going to have to replace these coordinators at the end of this first season, but there's plenty of good things about Florida State that are going to help us out. I mean, they should have made the playoffs last year, and now we're about to see how we do at home against Boston College in our second game. My only real hope for this first season is that we're able to make the playoffs, and so far I feel like we've shown that we're better than what we did against Georgia Tech. It's 14-3 with a freshman quarterback, and as time winds down in this first half, if we're able to reach the end zone, that would be incredible, which we do. 28-3 now, the Seminoles are not the Falcons, and I think this game went so well because of our defense. Boston College hasn't been able to do much on this 4th down, which would end the game if we get a stop. They didn't have much of a chance at picking it up, and now we're just going to work to run out the rest of the clock. Luke Kromenhoek was good for his first start. I think that's how you say his name. He delivered that one on a dime too, and we're going down at the 1. There's going to be some FSU fans that probably aren't happy at me for benching DJ that quickly, but I felt like we should. And clearly it helped how this team performed because we won by 22. If this is his first stat line, Luke Kromenhoek has a bright future in front of him, and I'm excited to see what we can do with FSU, even if one of our best safeties wants to transfer. We're winning Player of the Week with defensive players too, and after a bye week, we're going to have a ton of work to do in recruiting. This is going to be the time where we figure out which of these prospects we can actually get, and we've jumped out to a first place lead on all 4 of the 5 stars at the top of our board, which makes me feel great. It seems like we had to wait a little bit longer to start doing our top 5 hard sells though, so we're just going to go ahead and hop into another game where we're also playing at home. On our first drive, we're trying our best to reach the end zone. We're going to have to throw this corner out perfectly though, and you can see that there's still plenty of room for our freshman quarterback to improve. As we hit the 3rd quarter, we've been able to maintain our 3-point lead against Memphis, but we needed a touchdown on this play, and I didn't think that safety was sticking with us. Once I saw we beat the corner, I thought we were good to throw it. Now we're trying to hit this super long field goal, 53 yards out, but I think we drilled it. Those are the types of plays we have to be making. 6-point lead now, 3rd down they don't get. And we're in a good position to improve to 2-1 with a win over Memphis. All we have to do is get another touchdown on this drive, which I thought wouldn't be too difficult, but we have to pick up the 3rd down, and we do. I'm not sure how we're going to do with this Florida State team once we get to ACC play, when we're playing the teams like Miami, Clemson, etc. But at least for now, I'm feeling pretty good about this roster, except we give up a touchdown. We can't run out the clock versus Memphis. They're trying their hardest to get us off the field. We had enough time to throw it up to our fastest wide receiver though, and all it's going to take is one more first down to seal our win. This is Luke's time to shine. I'm going to step up, but they're going to get the sack. And if we miss this field goal with Ryan Fitzgerald, we're opening up the door for Memphis to come back in this game, but I'm not missing. We still have an 8-point lead. It's 4th and 8. They have to convert to keep this drive alive. And what are our safeties and DBs doing? Okay, I missed that tackle there, but we still should have held them, and on the 2-point conversion, we're going to get the sack. It's over. This was a harder win to get than I was hoping for, but with the onside kick recovery, we have completely done it. And our freshman quarterback is undefeated so far. He's going to have some games where he doesn't play as well, but I like what I've seen, and we just got our first 4-star commit. We actually got 2 in the same week, and they're both gyms, so our offensive line should be good going forward, but we have to focus in on these linebackers. That means we're going to have to get some players in for visits. Miami's beating us out for a couple of recruits, and they're going to come against Clemson. The same thing's going to have to happen for this 99 speed wide receiver. Miami's taking the good prospects from us, so they're all coming for a visit in that that same week. But before we get to that game, we have to take on teams like California that are new to the conference. I still don't understand why they're in the ACC, but they're not one of the opponents I'm too worried about because, like I said in the last game, the real test is going to come when we have to play Clemson, Miami, schools like that. I think the Golden Bears took that statement a little bit too personally, though, because we're losing to them in the third quarter. And it's not like it's a tight game. It's a 16-point one. We have the home field advantage, and they've just stopped us. It might be harder to win a championship with the Seminoles than I thought it would be. We're not getting it out in time. And I'm already going for it on a 4th and 8. I feel like we need to pick this up to stay in the game, but it's dropped. The next time we'd have the ball on a decent spot down the field, we couldn't mess up. But on 4th and 1, we had the easiest pass to make in the world, and we got in the way of each other. The fact that there's even a slight chance with 2 minutes left in this game is incredible, but they're sticking to our wide receivers so well. And that's why I said that we needed to recruit some better ones. It's not looking great for Florida State because nobody seems to be on the same page. Somehow that was a flag against California, though, which does give me a little bit of hope. We had enough time to hit the crosser, and this entire game of clips that you all have seen has just been our freshman quarterback struggling over and over. Luke Cromanhope clearly needs to develop, but I'm going to keep him out there on the field so he can. And now that we're unranked again, reality is starting to set in for this team. I don't know how they were top 10 to start the year, but I doubt we're going to make the playoffs. And we'll see how we do on the road at SMU. I'm really starting to regret starting a freshman quarterback because you can see all the missed passes that are happening. This is probably worse than if DJ Ukulele was out there on the field for us. And we're trying to come back down by 17 points where it's almost the 4th quarter already. This was clearly not how I envisioned this game going against the Mustangs. I thought we'd play a bit better, but I have to go for the comeback. I feel like we could still do it. And all it takes is our defense playing well on these third downs. I know that check down's there. We could get over to that ball, but unfortunately it just didn't seem to work that way for us. They came out in hurry up mode, spreading our formation out, and they're about to score a touchdown against this defense. It's over. I can't believe what's happening to this season. We're now 2-3, and our defense isn't playing as well as it once was. We could still complete a challenge, though, because Clemson's up next, and we need a win like that because more players are starting to want to transfer. They're ranked in the top 15. This would be huge. We have a ton of players on visit, and I don't want to lose any more commits to Miami like this linebacker that chose them over us. That's the main position that we need, and they're just trying to get everybody. So we really need to play our best game yet. Well, here in the third quarter, we find ourselves up by 3 points until they're about to score, and they're coming out pressing on a 3rd and 7. I'm curious if we could beat them deep, but instead I'm going to be smart and check it down. It always seems to be the right thing to just take your reads underneath. They're the ones that actually go well. And I know I don't show many clips of it, but we do try to run the ball. It rarely pans out though, which is why we're throwing it on this 3rd down. And the next time we'd see the ball again, there's only 3 minutes left in this game, so we need to have this drive finish really well for us. We can't take any sacks. We have to hit all of our reads immediately. Hold on to the ball like we did right there. And this is such a huge moment in this rebuild. We have to get out the halfback screen. Come on, Roydell Williams, just go to work on these defenders. Use that speed to the outside. That cut with that burst of acceleration was so clean. And we need Cade Klubnik to make one mistake, which he's due to doing, but we were out of reach. I literally thought we won the game right there. Instead, we're going to get a pick a couple plays later, and that should do it. We just need one more first down. The RPO was there. Or not. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get grilled in the comments for what I just did. To be completely fair, this receiver should have been blocking 20. He didn't do a thing, and I couldn't see that part of my screen until we threw the ball. Now we're in a really, really bad spot. I threw it right back to them again. What am I even doing at this point? Oh my gosh. I've panicked, and it's going to cost us the game, even if we do stop the run here, and we barely did. I can't believe the collapse that we just had, but they might have missed the field goal, and it's not a great chance, but we do have a chance in this game. I just pump faked with our quarterback. We actually had a read that was open there, and instead we're running with Luke. As we messed up the next couple of plays, our best option might just be to go back to the fade route on 3rd and 10, and we've hit our wide receiver, but he's in bounds, and he got stopped short, so we're going to lose this rivalry to Clemson. Even with that loss, though, we're set up for the future. We got a 99 speed wide receiver to commit, and our offensive line also continues to get better. Recently, I've been struggling on Heisman, but just looking through some of the other prospects we're going after, that loss in the visit week didn't affect us at all. We're continuing to pick up commits like this 5-star safety, and Duke Blunt is the first linebacker that's going to help out our linebacking core. I understand there's no reason FSU should be 1-4 in conference play right now, but we can fix it. It's only up from here. We're going to get the freshman quarterback better. And I was afraid that this rebuild wasn't going to be too much of a challenge, but because of how I'm playing, it definitely is going to be. No matter how well we play from here on out, I don't think it's going to be possible for us to make it to the playoffs. But whenever we face teams that aren't that good, it is so much easier. And by the time I'm done fixing this roster, getting players to progress, I think we're going to have a lot of easy wins coming up. We also ran the ball a lot better in this this game with Roydell Williams. And once he graduates, we need running backs to replace him, so I'm glad that we got Jeremy Clowney. In the same week, though, we would lose the 5-star receiver to TCU. And this one hurts to see. I thought we had Kiki Coffee locked up. Our recent struggles have made it so other schools are coming back on these other 5-stars as well. There's no guarantee we're going to get them, but we're going to have to land them if we ever want to complete the challenge of signing the number 1 class. Just looking at the rest of our schedule, we might actually go 6-6. We still have to play on the road at Notre Dame and at number 2 Miami. But this is a character building year for the Seminoles after going undefeated and missing the playoffs last year. Luke's already progressed up to an 81 overall. That's why I wanted to start him. There's still so much room for him to grow too. And I'm really hoping that we pull off this upset against Miami. Just like against Clemson, we have kept it close, but we're ending the half with a bad play. And that's a shame because we could have taken the lead with a touchdown. I play really aggressive and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. We're still starting the third quarter right, where we've audibled to a pass and that back shoulder throw should be wide open, but it's off target. I really love the alignment look on that last play. Now we're bringing out the jet touch pass, which is completely boxed. And I'm so sad the EA patched it. It was my favorite play at one point. If we didn't make all the mistakes that we do, especially inside the red zone, we would have a much different record. And this time around, we're in a very similar position, but we can't punch it in. All I want to do is take a lead against the Hurricanes, and we finally have, which we'd get to an 8-point lead with a pick 6, but they run it on 4th and 3, and we just couldn't make the tackle. I don't want this game to come down to us having to have a game-winning drive, so I'm super glad that we just got the interception right there. And if we can get out with this cornerback, we're about to take a 2-possession lead against the Hurricanes. What a play from Cyphers II. That is gonna do it. I think he's the best cornerback on this team. That was incredible. And Miami couldn't come back from that. We've taken down the number 2 team. So there is some hope for the rest of the season for Florida State. A win like that's gonna get some 5-stars to commit. As we have landed at least 2 of them, we didn't get the 3rd. It looks like he did choose Alabama. But that's fine with me. This class seems to be coming together pretty well, and now we're just gonna go after a bunch of 4-stars. At the moment, we're number 2 in the country. We're competing with Notre Dame for that number 1 spot, and I'm starting to feel a little bit better about season number 1. Against North Carolina, we're also doing all right. We're up by 7 points here in the third quarter, but because we couldn't pick up that 3rd and 16, we have to drill this long field goal, and I feel like I've gotten the kick meter down pretty well. One of the bigger adjustments I've made, though, is just handing the ball off whenever we're down inside the red zone, and I trust that we can use it to pick up this 4th and inches. Our offensive line still isn't the best, which is why I recruited so many of them during recruiting, but I'm hoping at least in the future we can lean on the run more often, and that's another touchdown. I wish I wasn't so rusty for this first season. I think we would have done a lot better, but the more games I get under my belt, the more that we're starting to win. This could be where all of our success stops, though. We're headed on the road, and we haven't scored in this entire first half, but as the half ends, we're finally reaching the end zone. Luke has his good games, and Luke has his bad games, and this is definitely not one of his better performances, but playing on the road's tough. I don't even know what the buttons are before we're throwing it 2 seconds later, and it is a scrambled mess. This time we're getting the read out, and we hold on, but because we were tackled short, it's 4th and 1, and we're just gonna pick it up. This is a huge drive in this game. As you can see, we're still trailing by 6 points. There's one defender we have to make miss here to pick up another first down, and I'm not sure what type of formation this is right here, but they've pinched everybody in. They're not going to make the tackle originally, and we just have to get over these 2 players. I want to keep the win streak alive, but Notre Dame's not making it easy. And here we go. It's 3rd and 6 for the Irish. We'll see if they have anything open. I guarded the check down, but they had the other check down. The biggest issue is once they've gotten into field goal range, we know for a fact that we're going to be losing, but we would stop them and give ourselves a chance. It's not been a great day for throwing the ball on the road, but we should be able to pick this one up, and we should be able to continue to push it down the field. Our blocks got picked up perfectly there. I don't know what button this was until the last second, but our tight end takes it to the 27. Notre Dame is finished. We've gotten ourselves into field goal range, and especially with that pass, we're about to come out on top of another one. There's nothing that the Irish can do right here. We're going to hit this down the middle, and I'm just so relieved that we're starting to win even more. We have a long way to go to win a championship, but by the time our quarterback's a junior, I think we're going to be there, and we fought our way all the way back into the top 25. There's no chance we make the ACC Championship, but we could make the playoffs, and as you can see, we're still putting in work on all of these 4-star recruits, even a 5-stars in the mix. I want to try to get as many of them as possible because we've fallen down the rankings, and I'm not sure a number 1 class is going to happen. We're signing more linebackers, which is a big need that we had, but we're also losing commits to other schools, and thankfully our next game's against an FCS program, so we should win by a ton. In the same week, though, Miami has jumped us on 3 different prospects. That is so hard to see, and we decided to take all of our frustration out against the Pandas. They couldn't stop our offense until the very end, and I was just trying to get as good of stats as we could. For example, Jaylen Brown had 3 catches for 3 touchdowns. touchdowns. And he could be our best wide receiver going forward. He's a 77 overall as a freshman, and he also has 96 speed. There's still one final game on our schedule though, and it's against the Gators, where we do have a couple of players that are coming on a visit. One of them was Josh Brock, but he committed to another school. And you can just see that over the weeks, we pretty much lost all the battles on 4 stars I thought we were going to get. It doesn't really matter though, because if we play well against Florida, we could very well make the playoffs. And this has been a legendary run to end the season, scraping wins out of any game that we can get. A lot of them might be close calls, but we seem to finish them off. And if the Gators don't pick up this 4th and 7, it's probably over for them. Even if we don't pick up this 3rd and 11, we're in an incredible spot, but I am a little bit disappointed in our right tackle for not picking up the block on that free rusher. We'd still win in the end, so it doesn't really matter, but we're still not supposed to get into the playoffs unless conference championship week plays out perfectly. It's a little frustrating, and even though we bounce back, I am going to fire both of our coordinators, and no matter what happens, it's only up from here. We've got to throw for more yards in the future. I know we focused on running the ball, and that definitely shows statistically, but the best receiver on our team can't only have 702 yards. I want to see stats like what Avery Johnson had to win the Heisman, and we're playing Cincinnati in a bowl game. We didn't make the playoffs. That's tough after we went on a 6-game winning streak, but all of these teams deserved it over us. And since it's early National Signing Day, we can start to look at the dev traits on some of these players. I've already seen a couple of elites, and that makes me super excited. There's been 4. Coordinator-wise, it took me a little bit of time to find people I want, but this is the perfect fit right here. And this bowl game doesn't mean much, but it would be nice for us to continue winning against Cincinnati. I would say it's a great opportunity for our freshman quarterback to help us come back in a game, getting some experience, but Brock Glenn's out there on the field, and he almost put that in the perfect spot. Unfortunately, Luke did get hurt, and he is injured for the rest of this, so that's why Brock Glenn's had to step up, but we could still take down the Bearcats. We're fine. This is going much better than the last bowl game that Florida State played in. I'm going to use the playmaker, be a little bit patient, and that should get us all the way down to the 5. All we have to do is make one more good pass, and we're in the end zone. But we can't let the Bearcats drive down the field versus our defense, so we're going to have to get a stop on 4th down. Here we go. We know that they're going to be throwing the ball, and they've put it in a spot that we don't get to, which is so unfortunate because I think that's going to be it for us, except we get the interception down in the red zone. Just go out of the back of the end zone. That was a fantastic user lurk to end this season, and we ended up getting the 2 coordinators that I really wanted. We also have 10 coach points to spend, and I think I'm going to put it into tier 3 of these 2 things. We need to upgrade more because I want this roster to progress as much as possible, and we've made a couple more 4-star signings. Miami ended up making it all the way to the championship, but they lost to Oklahoma State, and we're the only other team that beat them this season. We ended up going on such a huge run to end the year. We are losing quite a few good seniors though, a lot of starters, including our best cornerback. I think one player wanted to transfer out. Yeah, this wide receiver. I'm going to try to persuade him to come back, but he doesn't want to. And that means we're going to have some work to do in this transfer portal period. Of the players that are available, I wish we could have gone after Isaiah Bond. He didn't have us in his top 5. That really hurts. But if we somehow got Texas running back CJ Baxter, that would be insane. From the looks of it though, we're going to struggle to get some of these transfers. Miami always ruins anything good. And I have to somehow guess his hard sell and interest, even though we haven't unlocked a single one yet. If I miss on this, I can guarantee that he's not going to choose our school. And getting a kicker to commit is not what I want to see. We lost so many battles in the same week, 3 of them to Miami. I mean, they're just the worst. And that means we're not going to have CJ Baxter. Matter of fact, we didn't get a single transfer, and that's because of the schools we had to go up against. The only one we could still land is Jalen White. That didn't happen either though. He chose Georgia. So our class is going to finish at number 4 in the country, and we got to do better if we're going to sign the number 1 one. This is kind of crazy that we didn't complete a single challenge in the first season, but we have a lot of new freshmen that could be really good for us. For example, Clowney could come in at an 81 tight end or a 78 running back, and to have someone with 92 speed at that position is incredible. We also have 10 more coach points to spend, so we can put it into the master motivator tab. We're going to increase our offensive lineman's progression, and then also we're going to do our quarterback's progression because that should help out our team. We're an 89 overall going into season number 2, and Luke's an 85. Another player I was excited about, Jalen Brown's up to an 87, and I'm not looking for our schedule, already seeing Alabama on it in season number 2. We also play 3 ranked teams during conference play. No, make that 4, but for whatever reason we're also supposed to be a top 5 team ourselves, so we'll see if that makes a difference. I don't know what we've done to deserve that ranking. At the moment we're projected to finish like 10th in the ACC, but we should be able to do better than that. It's Luke's sophomore season now, and his elusiveness keeps on going up. He needs to improve his accuracies though, and I just noticed that we have Jalen Lucas, a running back with 95 speed, plus 2 99 speedsters in this receiving corps, so this is a very fast team. As for recruiting, we clearly have a lot of team needs. We're going to have to fill up our running back room. We need more offensive linemen, but our defense is pretty much taken care of. And I'm hoping this time around we can get some more 5 stars to commit to our school, even though we can still only put 50 or 60 points on most positions. This is what the board's looking like. Last year we were in leads for a ton of players in in first place at the start, but those eventually went away. So I'm not reading much into it, but what I am worried about is how we'll play against Alabama. It's the game of the week plus our first one of the season. But before we finish the rest of this Florida State rebuild, a word from Prize Picks, today's video sponsor. College football is finally back, which means they've come out with a free square. And all Jalen Milroe has to do is pass for half a yard in order for you to get it right. If you're good at guessing how players will perform, then you might like Prize Picks, where on there you simply take 2 to 6 players and then predict higher or lower on their projection. And you can play in over 30 states, so there's a good chance yours is eligible. On top of the free square, if you want some free cash to start out with, Code Board will get you $50 instantly when you play with your first $5 or more lineup. And now it's time to resume the Florida State rebuild. And after an entire half of football, nobody's been able to pull away. We are going to go for the 2-point conversion here because I felt like we could have picked it up, but we didn't, and they scored to start the third quarter, so we need to respond back. It is cover one. We have them beat deep. We make the catch, or at least we should have. I thought Jaylen Brown was able to hold on to it. He wasn't, and we're about to be in some trouble. Ever since then, we've traded touchdowns back and forth, but we don't have the ball. We should have gotten an interception right there, and Alabama's going to go back up 2 possessions. That's the type of stuff that drives me insane. We also had no time. So it's 4th and 4. We're going to just look for our running back in the flat. That's the easiest way for us to pick up the first. But we're going to be in a lot of trouble if we can't continue to move the ball well, and I think we have to attempt this 50-yarder with the freshman kicker. If we don't hit this, the game is over, but I think we just did. This is a huge moment in this matchup. 3rd and 6. I was not expecting the run here. We pass committed, and we have to make the tackle in time. Come on, just bring him down. That was what we needed, even if we're getting this ball in a bad spot. And I can't believe how quickly Alabama's generated pressure throughout this game. We're just going to have to step up and run for the first down. We're honestly in trouble for the rest of the season if our pass protection doesn't get better. And all of a sudden, it's 3rd and 10, but we have beat them deep. I'm going to step up in the pocket, and number 1 caught right back up to us. We have lucked out that he didn't try to make a play on that football. I don't understand how they're generating pressure like this. We're throwing it on the run. And this is such a huge moment to start this season. I want to be able to take down the Crimson Tide. We're going back to our running back over and over. That's the easiest read. We have time to get it out. And there's not that much time left on the clock. I'm going to try to step up, scramble with Luke, and he goes all the way to the end zone. What a play from the sophomore quarterback. But now we must rely on our defense to not give up anything dumb. We're getting the interception on the first play, and Florida State is going to take down Bama. I am so relieved we just pulled that one off. They were a 92 overall. And if we can win that game, we can win anything. The next week, we're playing against Wake Forest, who's only an 80. And it's getting closer to the time where we can start to hard sell on some of these prospects. If we can just keep our championship contender rating up, all of our school grades look super good. And Wake Forest has kept it closer than I would have liked, but they had a terrible defensive alignment coming out with this play, so we're going to have the easiest touchdown ever. I'll continue to look for stuff like that we can take advantage of. On 3rd down, we're going to be a bit short. And there's only 4 minutes left now, so it could be risky to go for it here, but I still did. All I know is we can't lose to the Demon Deacons. That wouldn't be a good look for the program. We had enough time to get that pass out, but it was dropped. They keep moving down the field, and on 4th and inches, they also dropped the ball. Wake Forest is already starting to use timeouts to try and get it back. I just gave it straight to them. Like, that couldn't have been a worser read, but I'm not going to get frustrated by it. There's still plenty of time left in this game for us to pull off the win. All we have to do is get a field goal. And I already know that when I start filming my team builder series, I'm going to have so many plays like that where I just turn it over and I shouldn't. Lots of bad reads are coming your way shortly with that team builder series. I'm so excited for it Friday. And this game's over. We're just settling for the game winner by now. All we have to do is make sure that this goes straight in, and it does. There was no room for error. So our freshman kicker's been solid, and we improved to 2-0 even if it was closer than it should have been. We just didn't pass the ball that well this game, and that's going to drop us down to number 3 in the country, but there's still so much of the year left. I still feel like we're on pace to sign most of the 5 stars that are on our board, but if we had extra points to spend, I'd definitely put a few on a visit. So hopefully after we take down Kent State, we'll at least have some hours freed up. After we play them, it's Arizona and Virginia Tech, but it won't really get hard until we go at Clemson, then against number 4 Miami. So we're in a spot where we should start the year 5-0. At least this far into this game, Kent State hasn't been able to keep up with us, mainly because we can just throw for whatever we want, and this is a great chance to maybe get one of our players in the Heisman race. I feel like Luke actually has a good shot at pulling that off. I mean, we're just dusting their corners over and over for another touchdown. We had to run up the score, but I don't think you can blame us. And look at these numbers, man. 80% completion percentage for 6 touchdowns. And these are the screens that I really wanted to see. We got 2 commits, so that frees up over 120 hours. And Jaylen Brown's just going to keep progressing. We have no choice but to schedule as many visits as we can for this game against Virginia Tech. But before we have to play them, we have to take on Arizona first. With how we'd been playing recently, I didn't think we'd be losing in this game by the time we got to the 4th quarter. But we have the ball. We have a chance to come come back still, and I guess that's all that really matters. Our 99 speed wide receivers also out there on the field if we could ever hit him. And the pressure's definitely on as time winds down in this game. We're going to put that one in the right spot. But unfortunately, it wasn't held on to. Now it's third down, and we are going to drop it again. This is ridiculous, but I feel like we have to go for it on fourth down. We fumble it away, and we're lucky we even got the ball back with about 2 minutes left, but this has not gone the way that we needed it to. We're getting a huge run, though. That's what I wanted to see, and we don't fumble, so I'm not going to learn my lesson of needing to slide more. We also have our 99 speed wide receiver on a fade, and that route's not as good as it's been for me in the past. Instead, we're going to come short on third down, so we have to go for it on 4th and 1, and please tell me we're going to catch it. I have no words at this point. There's no reason that we should be losing this game at the moment. We need to make sure they don't get much, and we're just going to keep on run committing, but they're going with the jet touch passes instead. 3rd and 4, I knew they would hand it off. We're going to hold them short, and we have a minute and 6 seconds to go 98 yards down the field. It's not looking great for us, but we started out with the jet touch pass ourselves, and I couldn't tell you why they're coming out pressing like this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure we have at least our running back blocked. We just need enough time to get it up to our best wide receiver over on that left side of the field, and he is going to toast them to run all the way for a touchdown. But I'm afraid of getting in too soon. I wonder if I should take this or not. I think we will. We already know the computer's about to turn into prime Tom Brady. That's why I was so concerned. And I'm just fully expecting this game to go to overtime, which is still better than us losing, but we should have been a bit more patient. We didn't have to take the touchdown there. Now I see their routes that are open, but we get the sack, and that leaves them with 21 seconds left with no timeouts. That's actually really good. They're also coming out in the Hail Mary formation, so I guess they're just going to send up a couple of prayers. If we intercept this football, it is all over. But that ends it too. I didn't realize it was 4th down. This team has what it takes to get wins whenever it matters the most, and that means we're getting this 5-star instead of Miami. We also stole another 5-star free safety from them too, and the DBs just keep on coming in. We might have lost a 4-star tight end in the same week, but we signed 3 5-stars, so I really don't care. And I just realized most of the players that committed were supposed to come on a visit this week against Virginia Tech. Now we have to schedule these guys for a different game. I guess our bye week or Miami would work. Miami will probably do well for this prospect. And because I want to make sure we get both of those 5-star quarterbacks, I'm actually going to upgrade recruiter until we're in the tier 3, which allows us to put more hours on them. I'm only doing that to sign the #1 class in the country. We have our answer at QB, and now we just have to make sure that the Hokies don't upset us. It's still way too early to tell who's going to be the best in the ACC, but our games after this will really allow us to set the tone, and we haven't been able to get into the end zone yet, but we should be able to on this play as we hold on to the ball. We've run into the same issue that we have recently though, where we just play down to our opponent. We haven't scored more than 7 cents. So with 3 minutes left, we find ourselves down by a few points, and we're about to take a sack plus fumble it. I'm actually sick at the moment, but they hand it off on a 3rd and 7, and we just don't stop them in time. We're about to lose to the Hokies. This is what I was afraid of happening, and I'm not sure if we're going to survive escaping this one too. At least we've got them to a 3rd and 13 where they just handed it off again, and they're attempting a super long field goal. We are going to get the ball at midfield, so all we have to do now is not fumble it in a terrible spot. That cover 4 palms defense is always so confusing to me though. I think we might have beat them deep with that pass. We have brought it in, and oh my gosh, it is the freshman wide receiver that we signed. David Tutt has probably been the best prospect ever, because with his 99 speed, he keeps running straight by defenses, and I should have been there. The Hokies are starting to feel the pressure now. All we have to do is stop them. What was that? I mean, we literally just let them get the easiest catch of all time, and they could still score a touchdown here, which would put us in a really, really bad spot. Thank goodness we hit them hard enough. Now they're going with the play action. I bit at the play action. I'm hitting them again. That time we weren't as fortunate to knock it out. We're about to give it up. Oh my gosh. Come on, just bring them down and bounce. And here we go. It all comes down to this. 10 seconds left on the clock. They throw it on the run, and we have choked against the Hokies. There's not really anything I can say here. There's really not much that I can do. And I tried to make it more manageable for us to pick up. Now we just have to hope that somehow we also outrun them right there. But that didn't happen, and the people visiting are not going to appreciate this loss. I think we can still get about 4 or 5 5-star commits, because after this signing we have, but I wasn't expecting to see another one too. As you can see, in that same week, we lost 5 other battles. But on the bright side, somehow there's still 2 other 5-stars we're set to get, and that would give us 8 total, but we still have to get a bunch of 4-stars in order to make the class good. I think we'll be able to pull it off, especially since we just got this in, and it's time for our biggest game of the year yet. We're going on the road to undefeated #2 Clemson. If we're going to make the conference championship, we have to win this, and I think I'm going to switch up our playbook from Florida State's 2 to something like Alabama's. I just want us to have some more options offensively, and here we go. Game of the week. This is about to be a huge matchup. There is absolutely zero room for error. They already got a touchdown on their first drive, And I thought that was it right there. I thought that was an interception, but instead we're going for the back of the end zone and they get to it. Even this kick meter is shaking so much. Points are going to be very hard to come by. I moved it accidentally, and we don't even know what plays are actually out there on the field. It's not great for learning a new playbook. I will definitely say that. I should have switched it in another game after we got through the Miami ones, but we've beaten the press over on that left side, so we're going to score. As we get closer to halftime, it's still a 7-point game. I'm going to go for it again. I feel like we are able to beat them deep. And when I tell you that all we have to do is run 4 verticals and throw it up to one of our receivers, I really mean it. We have so much talent and speed on that side of the ball, it's almost unstoppable. And after figuring out the Clemson DBs couldn't stop it, we just blew them out. The Alabama playbook was definitely the right move, because stats like this are going to put our quarterback in the Heisman race, I hope. And I just remembered, we've completed our first challenge of the video by knocking that off. Surely a win like that will be a catalyst for more commits. But you're going to see instead we're losing battles. I think it's because prospects know that we don't have as many team needs this year. We filled a lot of the holes that we had. So we're still sitting with the number 3 class, even though we have so many more 5 stars. I'd feel a lot better if South Carolina wasn't so close to stealing this one. But on the bright side, he's visiting against Miami, so all we have to do is win. Just to make sure we can continue to sign some of these 4 stars too, there's a lot of receivers on our board, so we're going to unlock tier 3. And that's a game changer because now we can put 65 instead of 50 points on a lot of these prospects. What's more important though is how we close out the rest of the season. There's still 3 ranked teams on our schedule. And if we don't win out, we're not making the conference championship. It won't be necessary to make the playoffs since we're number 4 right now, but we really need to take down the Hurricanes. And just like against Clemson, we're playing in the game of the week. Remember how Miami stole CJ Baxter from us? Well, we have been taking it out against them. They have not stopped us once. And I think I'm going to use Alabama's playbook in every video from now on. I mean, our defense has also been pretty locked down, so that's contributed to how much we're winning by. We're getting the sack. But in reality, it's just been the fact that offensively, we've had a couple insane weeks against the teams we're facing. I'm already going to do the settings check because I know someone in the comments will say, oh, the difficulty was just changed. And I legitimately don't see how we could lose the rest of the season if we can continue to play like this. I mean, our team is fast. I'm finally having a ton of fun using the Seminoles, and that's going to seal our 8th 5-star commit. I can't act like our defense also didn't play amazing though, because they had 2 touchdowns themselves, and all of a sudden we're on top of the ACC standings. I was hoping we'd have somebody in the Heisman watch as well, but we don't. And we need a defensive award winner, so I'm glad that Patrick Payton's in the running for it. Now we're taking on 5-2 Pitt at home, and of course, this is the week that we get off to the slow start, even though this is a team that we should easily beat. We should still be fine. We're driving down the field to end this first half. We have beaten their press on this play, and the teams that press the most are the easiest ones to score on. That's why we were able to beat Miami by so much. We just ran a little play action screenplay where they make the tackle on time. But with 4 minutes left, we're still up by 5, and we just needed a bit longer. Kicking this field goal still gives us an 8-point lead, but I shanked it. And I don't understand this game sometimes. We do better against the teams that are supposed to be good. We'd give up the touchdown, but not the 2-point conversion, so we are only trailing by 1 with a few minutes left. We're still fine. We're breaking a lot of tackles. Keep on going, Brown. How is he still standing? Okay, what was that? I thought they patched broken tackles from behind. This kid might just be a cheat code. And come on, we're just going to hand it off now. We could get the 2-point conversion, but we don't. That just means we're only going to be up by 5 points. It seems like we get pressure in time, and we just have to hold them on this 4th and 12 where we're going to play that ball or give it up. How on earth did he end up breaking free? We had a player that was there to catch it. I am so confused right now. I thought we had the interception, and we have to watch this one back. I mean, we're just standing there. No way. That's the thing about Heisman. Sometimes it just cheats you. I mean, how did we not get that? At the moment, I'm at a loss for words. They're about to get the 2-point conversion too. And why can't they just press our receivers? They're actually playing smart against us. It's going to be hard to score again. We might still be able to dust them, but they stuck with us well. And now it's 3rd and 10. That is a cover 3 or a cover 2 of some sort. If that was a better throw, we would have had it. We're going back to that same concept. That's what I'm going to try. I'm going to go for the bomb all the way down the field. It is going to be reeled in, and that's why we go to Brown. Sometimes it's fun to abuse that. Sometimes I like to keep it simple. We haven't used it much in this game. And if we make the right read on this RPO, we'd have a touchdown, but that was risky. We lost to Virginia Tech in a similar situation to this one, so I am a little bit nervous. But I just have to trust that our defense can hold it down, and we have to hit them hard. 3rd and 4 now, still 24 seconds left on the clock. They throw it straight to us. We're going to win. And that felt so rewarding to pull that off, even though we got cheated. Jaylen Brown, clearly one player of the game. He's the only reason we came out on top. And I can't can't deal with this team's inconsistencies, at least we're signing more 4 stars. By now I've brought in 3 quarterbacks in one class and we're still going for a 4th. But if that's what it takes to sign the number 1, we're going to continue to go for it. Notre Dame has 18 4 stars already. They're making it hard to sign the number 1 class, but we keep fighting. And I was hoping by now to see somebody in the Heisman race. Statistically, we've been putting up way better numbers. I mean, we've thrown for 27 touchdowns, only 1 interception. And then we have a receiver that's on pace to do incredible things too. I might just have to start force feeding him the ball even more. There's just 4 weeks left in the season, and our success could be close to slowing down. We're about to have to play 4 road games, which makes it much harder to throw the ball. We can't let that deter us from just going for big play after big play, though. We catch it after they deflect it into our hands, and that is our running back that was able to pull that off. Of course, by the 4th quarter, it's still not over, but that's because we have struggled offensively whenever we need to get more points. And half this game, because we're on the road, we haven't been able to make any audibles, but when we can, we just put our best player on a streak, and sometimes he cooks. He might actually be the best receiver I've ever used. But defensively, we have let Stanford stay in the game for longer than I would have liked, and that's the type of sack that we needed in that situation. Now we have to make the tackle. But since we didn't, it's back to our offense having the ball, and this play has not gone that well. Now you would think Stanford would be perfectly fine, but they've come out in a cover 0 look, pressing our 99 speed wide receiver. He's even quicker than our best one. So David Toots gone to the crib and we're back up by 2 possessions. Stanford still won't go away though. They scored another touchdown. We recovered the onside kick and we're trying to run out the rest of this clock. We're going to break 1 tackle with our running back. And we have a double-headed monster that we can use. Both of them are really good. I am a little greedy though, so knowing that they're probably going to run commit, I came out passing the ball, and all of a sudden this game is not over and they have locked up on the corner route. I regret my decisions, but we're not playing defense. We're going for it on 4th and 6. We beat them off of the line. And I might be giving you all a free tutorial in this video on how to blow games in college football 25. I don't like to send the special teams unit out there on the field. On this 3rd and 10, we've locked up really well. And if only we could play like this most of the time when we've needed stops in previous matchups. We missed that ball. I have to slow it down and take another look at it. It looks like we actually just tipped it. And that was enough to stop them still, but I was trying to intercept it. Unfortunately, we didn't get our extra touchdown at the end, but I'm not too worried about it. We just have to keep putting up good stats. There's something weird in the water we're drinking at the moment. We should not be in a close battle against Virginia. And I can't believe it. We literally continue to play down to the competition of whatever team we're facing. We're going to have to make a play, running, scrambling for the first down, and thank goodness. We can't just coast to an easy win in any of these matchups. It always has to be close. I wanted to try to pull this off though, and we couldn't get into the end zone. Doing stuff like that is definitely the reason that we struggle in some of these games. I get bored. I want to try new things. And now we have to attempt to get the 2-point conversion. It would be weird if I didn't go with the jet touch pass. I trust this so much. We have a ton of blockers over here. But what I don't trust is our defense. We're going to have to force them into a turnover or something. And here we go. It's 3rd and 8. Please do something stupid. Run the ball. Okay. We can defend this all day. Come on, get the sack. This video alone has made me so much better in close situations. We might have them beat on this play. They were backed up by 10 yards before the snap too. I've been trying to avoid throwing that as much, but if they give it to us, we have to. At least when it matters, at least when these games are super close and we were not able to get to that football. 47 seconds still on the clock. They have plenty of time to potentially score, but our defense forces the interception. And when it comes to closing out games, besides against Virginia Tech, we're killing it. 23 points in the 4th quarter for a huge comeback win. And we're the best 9-1 team in the country. The only one above us is 10-0 Penn State. I should also point out our quarterback is a Heisman finalist. I'm not sure if he'll finish here, but he's here for the time being. So we have to make sure we maintain that, playing at number 15 NC State. It would be so nice if we could just get a win by a lot of points for once again. And at the moment, we're on pace to do so, but we have to pick up this 4th down, which we do to Brown, who takes us to the 6. One thing I've learned is if you get a lot of motions and RPOs into your offense, the defense gets super confused. And we just have to keep on pushing it down the field, pitch it last second, and we're going to use our speed to get to the outside. When I tell you it feels super good to finally be playing like this, I mean it. And I don't think we've dominated like this since the Miami game. We'd end up winning 44-23. And of course, Luke won player of the game. Roman Hoke's still in the Heisman race. We have 1 game left against the other Heisman finalist, DJ Lagway. And the only reason I even know how to pronounce his name is because I found it on a website and I've been playing it before I say it every single time. It's time for this rivalry though. I know it's not going to be easy in the swamp. DJ Lagway is a good player, but no matter what happens here, we have secured our spot in the ACC Championship, so I'm feeling good about the direction of this rebuild, especially since we still have the number 1 class. If we play to our full potential, this is a team that could win a championship this season, and you best believe that we've tried to beat them deep many times in this game. That safety is going to get back to that ball. He's going to pick it, and that's going to cause it to become 14-all, but as time winds down in this first half, we're going to go for it again because we still of a 99 speedster. He literally just dropped a free touchdown though, so we're going to get our very, very quick running back out in space. And I've had to turn on chew clock because I don't want them to get a chance to get points against us as time winds down, though. We're going to throw this on the final play of the half. And guess who's in the end zone? If it was anyone other than Brown, I would be shocked. And using Jaylen Brown has been like using Berrien Brown on Kentucky. But Florida's not making it easy to pull off this win. I don't think we're going to pick this up. I'm running for my life. And they'd score another touchdown, so we have to make sure that we get points on this drive no matter what. This is probably my favorite play, though. We'll see how the defense plays it right here. I think we're going to have the touchdown, assuming this throw is just far enough, and it is. He is gone. This time, David Tutt hangs on to the football, and I really want to sack Florida out of field goal range here, but they ran it straight into us, so they are going to get their 3. Now that they have us on a 3rd and 7, I'm going back to my favorite deep concept, but I went for the short read underneath to try and play it safe. Now they're running press man-to-man coverage on that left side of the field, and you know that we have to give Jaylen Brown a chance to come down with it. He's eventually going to get by him. By now, he's got to be up to like a 92 or 93 overall, and I'm just embarrassed at how quickly we let them get down the field against us while they break a tackle. The computer doesn't want us to win, but if we do come out on top of this game, we're going to have some great Heisman stats with Luke. He runs for a bit, and I'm just really hoping the playoffs aren't as challenging as this has been. I'm not sure what button that receiver is, so we're just going to have to go to our running back and hope he can get by these guys. Playing on the road can be very difficult. Again, we didn't know what button was what. It's a bad pass, and the swamp is starting to turn up whenever they need them to the most. We went with the smart read here to make sure we move the chains, and all we really need out of this drive is a field goal, but I know we can get so much more than that. Well, it's 3rd and 10 now. They instantly got pressure, and I guess this game all comes down to this play. I'm going to throw it to our best receiver, but it's picked off. I was staring him down. I'm not even going to act like I had another read out there on the field. That's going to cause us to lose to the Gators. It's my fault again. And headed into the ACC Championship, I don't think we can lose again. At the moment, because of those interceptions, we don't have anybody in the Heisman watch. But we're still getting some 4-star commits to make our class better. At the same time, though, we are losing out on quite a bit. They realize that there's no room for them to play. And I'm just hoping that the rest of this season isn't collapsing before our eyes. We have to beat the Tar Heels. There's a lot of awards on the line. I don't think we're going to win Best Defensive Back, but we should be able to win the Lombardi. Patrick Payton's still number 1. And there's the trophy we want to take home. Going into this game, I know how important it is we put up a stat line, and something interesting I think I've learned is if they're running man-to-man coverage and you have a motion like that on the field, sometimes the DBs get a little bit confused. They end up flipping, and if this is a good throw, we should have a touchdown. We're running that play back. This time, the corner route isn't open again. That might be intercepted. And I can't believe some of the drops I'm seeing. I mean, that was just ridiculous. Not only do I want to win this game, though, I want to get the best stats possible, so we're going to go for it on this 4th down for the tutty. And I'm just hoping we can have a Heisman finalist. They are reviewing this play, but it's clearly a touchdown. And there's an entire formation where there's motions before every play, so I've just been testing stuff out. We might have beat them deep with this fade route too. And I'm telling you right now, if we didn't have to deal with so many drops, we'd have such better stats. By halftime, it's still 28-3. We're doing fine. But because our stats look so good, I'm afraid I'm a thrown interception. And that's something we cannot have on this 4th down. They're getting in pressure immediately still. But it doesn't really matter when you're getting the ball out quickly and we're about to pass for another tutty. This could be our best game of the entire season, and it's coming at such an important time. So you best believe after the Tar Heels scored again, we're trying to score one more time just to make our stats as good as possible. We're getting it at midfield, and I am doing my best to finish with the best stat line possible. We might have toasted them deep on this one right here. And the fact that our running back is holding on to the ball right now makes me feel so good. We just need to finish off this drive. But I feel like the only way to do it in the red zone with a pass is the jet touch pass. At least it's the safest way and we don't throw an interception. If we don't get into the Heisman watch after that, I'm going to be so confused because that had to be the best game of Luke's career. Either way, at least we won an ACC championship, but the Heisman trophy went to Drew Aller. Patrick Payton won Best Defensive Player of the Year though with those stats, which means he was also the best defensive end. That's a challenge complete, and we were still able to win the best quarterback, just not the Heisman, even though another quarterback won the Heisman. So that makes no sense to me, but our 99 speed wide receiver was the best special teams returner. Patrick Payton also won the Lombardi. I'm just trying to get through all these screens because we need to make sure that we were a Heisman finalist. I'm hoping that we were, and that's what I wanted. In just 1 week, we've been able to knock off 3 different challenges, and we won't know until the end of the season if we're able to sign the #1 class or not. This might not be our final year either. We still have to win it all, and I want to go over our season season stats. Obviously, this is a huge step up for our quarterback. 49 touchdowns, only 4 picks. And then using both Jalen Lucas and Roydell Williams, we still rushed for almost 2,000 yards as a team combined. Now, clearly, we were going to have at least one standout wide receiver in Jaylen Brown. These stats are incredible. 20 touchdowns. And it's a shame that I can't see Devin Hyatt's stats because I want to know what beat out what we had. I should at least be able to go to a player card from there. That needs to be changed in future games, but his stats are a little bit worse than what we did. So I'm not sure how we didn't win the Blitnikoff, but we're still getting commits. It looks like we're also set to play Oregon in the next round, and I'm assuming it'll be Penn State after that because there's no way Ball State beats them. This is kind of a tough draw. We're going to have to play some of the toughest teams in the country. I didn't realize we averaged 40 points per game though. That is kind of crazy. And we've come a long way with Florida State. One thing I should have checked because I'm using them is actually the pride stickers that are on the back of their helmets. We don't catch it. But anyway, they're supposed to add more of those throughout the year, and I'm just not sure if they did. It's only for teams like Ohio State, Florida State. I'm just not sure if EA actually put it in or if they just said they did. We keep on trying to bomb them, and it's actually working really well for us. Now we're going to go for our corner route, and that ball was placed perfectly. By the time the second quarter's rolled around, we're about to go up 21-0, but we need our stronger running back in this situation because he can't fight. It was time for Roydell Williams to get out there, but they just stuffed us. So I'm putting the ball in the hands of Jaylen Brown on this 4th down, and using his speed to the outside, we're in. This was not a game that I thought would be a blowout, but we might just be that good. I mean, Oregon hasn't been able to keep up with us. And at the end of the day, I did say that we had one of the best offenses in the country. I'm having a blast using them. I'm not sure if we're going to lose. And Jaylen Brown's stats in this one were incredible. He had almost 300 receiving yards. I didn't realize how much I just fed it to him, but now we're playing Penn State. And the last time I did a rebuild with a school that was big, it was with the Nittany Lions, so I know this roster that we're about to face is really solid. We were able to win it in 2 years with them, and we're about to see if we're able to do that same thing against the Seminoles and if this roster's better than the one that we had in that. Just based off of the way that this game started, I think that it is, but we're only up by a few points at the moment, and it just took me all season to realize that Jaylen Brown also has a filthy spin move on him. I have to see that again, but it's more important that we just get into the end zone. And of course, it's coming back because of holding. We can never have anything nice. That's fine. I'm just going to let Jaylen Brown go to work. I really want to see that spin. And we better not get held on this 3rd and goal. I think we have a touchdown over the middle. Where's their 3rd safety? That was the oddest cover 2 look I've ever gotten, but it allowed us to go up by 14, and it's not getting any better for the Nittany Lions. We're going to make them think that we're handing it off with the jet sweep again, but instead we're just running it on the ground. And their offense simply can't keep up with ours. That's how good we've been. I will say, from this game, I am shocked that they gave Drew Aller the Heisman Trophy. I mean, it's been Nick Singleton if anyone's done anything offensively. And clearly we had better stats with Luke Kromenhoek. He is a wide receiver that he can just throw it up to at any time. His season stats were incredible too. It could be the greatest Heisman snub we've ever seen, but he might get revenge anyway by getting Florida State a championship, and we get to play Washington in it. That's not bad at all. I don't understand why the sim in this game still treats the Huskies like it's last year's team, but they always seem to do well on these files, and I just realized we have 35 coach points to spend. I've ended up not boosting a single thing about our defense, only offense. Our receivers should catch the ball better, and going into this game, we have the overall advantage. We're so close to getting a national championship, and you best believe as teams get upset throughout the season, I'll be doing rebuilds on them all year. I'm super excited for college football to be back, and we've already gotten 3 points against the Huskies, but we're going for a lot more on this drive where we are going to hit about every throw. It's official. This is definitely the greatest offense I have ever had in a rebuild, and it took us a while to get to this point, but we figured it out mid-year with the playbook switch. Hopefully it makes sense now why I benched DJ from the start too. We went with the blitz. It didn't get in time, and if you thought we were just going to get an easy national championship win, then you would be wrong. How did they stick with Brown? I mean, he's still coming down with everything. This is literally the most fun I've ever had. Okay, now I'm just forcing it, and I hate to admit that approaching halftime, we're trailing by 7 points, but not for long. He just ran straight by that corner. He doesn't even have takeoff. And can you imagine how overpowered he'd be with the takeoff ability? It wouldn't be fair. To end this first half, we could still get a lead. They're going to hit this field goal, but nothing came after that. And let's just say that defense did not exist in the 3rd quarter. We're actually not in a great spot either. We're not going to get into the end zone here. And with 4 minutes left, we could be down by 10 unless we can hit this field goal. I have made sure that it should go in, but getting them off the field has been a challenge for us, and I'm afraid that we're going to miss the tackle on 3rd down. This time around, we're going with some cover 4 quarters, some match coverage. It's going to work, and I wish I wasn't getting this ball on the 4-yard line. We've got to somehow get it out of here and not take a safety. This is going to end so poorly for us. I can already tell unless we're able to beat them deep. And it was a bad pass, but I have to go with that same look to the other side of the field and just hope that our 99 speed wide receiver, David Tutt, can go all the way to the crib because it's a tie game. This is the comeback we have deserved. It is 3rd and 12. All we have to do is make sure they don't pick this up. And they did. They've continued to keep the ball too. I'm afraid that they're going to just try to settle for a field goal against us. We've held them. And that means we can still win this with a touchdown. I had a chance to block it, but I was terrified of getting a roughing the kicker animation, and please just hold on. This is a really good championship. It's a great way to end this one. They don't have anybody over there in the flat. We're able to run out of bounds. And I really hope we can pull this comeback off. If we have to play another season after losing a championship like this, that would just be heartbreaking. I feel pretty confident with our offense though. I almost don't want to score too quickly. This is a risky throw to make, actually. We did not have that much separation, but I trusted Jaylen Brown, and now I just need to make sure that we trust our defense. I couldn't get there in time. I'm getting deja vu to the Virginia Tech game. I already know how this one's going to end. They're going to score a tutty, and I'm not sure what we can do besides just hope for the best. We left them way too much time left on the clock, and they go down. The computer's clock management really hasn't been that good right here. I didn't mean to pick this guy up. I didn't want to switch over to him, and that allows them to get a first down while also getting out of bounds, but we could get a pick here and catch it. Oh my gosh, he had a championship in his hands and he just decided he didn't want to hold on to the football. We get the sack though, and they're just gonna have to spike it, making it 4th and 20. If we give this up in this situation, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm assuming they're just going with the 4 verticals of some sort. We have 2 guys back there on the ball, and we swat it away. It is official. We have won it all with Florida State. And this is just 2 years after they lost to Georgia Tech in Ireland to open the season. We have completed our 5th challenge of this video, but there's still one more. And I don't think we've ever had it work out this way before, but look at those stats. In order for me to be completely successful, we still need to sign the #1 class. And I can't believe that our quarterback's not going on to the NFL. We got Luke Kromenhoek up to an 88 overall. If we played another season, he would be back for it. His accuracies never went up, but it never seemed like they were bad. Patrick Payton was our player that won all the defensive awards. And we still have 12 scholarships on this roster that we have to fill in order to secure the #1 class. In the transfer portal, there's definitely a lot of 4-stars that are interested in coming to our school. That's nice to see, but I'm not sure how many of them we're going to be able to land in. We'll see how it plays out. I have 10 coach points to spend, and a lot of those guys are DBs, so we're going to get tier 3, allowing us to put 65 points per week on them. And with some of our coordinator boosts too, we can get 75 hours a week. There's no reason we shouldn't get a lot of these guys. Before we keep on advancing, I will say I'm not feeling too good about how many of these guys we're going to get. I've had to guess on a lot of their hard sells, so I'm just going to be happy seeing any committed screens. Those 3 stars aren't going to help us out that much though. That's what I want. It looks like we got a couple safeties and then another DB. That's good, but of course we're going to lose like 7 battles at once. And we're probably not getting this guy either because Georgia has him too. Ohio State also brought in a couple more 5-stars. There's a chance they could leapfrog our class. And I'm not sure if signing all these kickers and punters is going to help or hurt our class ranking. We're about to find out if we completed the final challenge. And it's been a couple videos since I've knocked them all out. I'm really hoping we still have the #1 class, and we do. That was actually a really fun 2 years that we just had with the Seminoles. And let me know down in the comments which big school you think I'm going to be filming a rebuild on next, because they get upset in real life.